Hi everyone, it's Angie from Hello Baby Crochet, and I wanted to demonstrate to you today how to do the star stitch. This stitch is going to be used in the upcoming Pineywoods scarf pattern, so I wanted to give a little bit of a demonstration because reading instructions for it can be a little bit difficult, so I wanted to give you guys a visual. So I started out here with my Furls Crochet hook. This is my Odyssey. This is a K hook, and I'm using a larger size just so that you guys can see the stitch really well. And for this, I'm using just some Caron Simply Soft from Yarnspirations that I have in my stash. So what I did was I started with a chain of 21, and then I did 20 half double crochets for my base. I've also got 2 stitch markers here that I will be using. So I'm going to start out with, let's do chain 1, chain 2, and then the way I like to do my stitches is I stick a stitch marker around my working loop like this, and then I do my chain 3. I'll show you why when we get down to the end, but that's going to help me find where this stitch is to put another stitch into it at the end of the next row. So I've got 1, 2, 3 chains on my loop, or on my hook rather. So I'm going to go into that second chain that I made, and I'm going to pull up a loop. I'm going to go into the third chain I made. I'm going to pull up a loop. Now you see that stitch right there where the chain is at the base. I'm going to go into there, pull up a loop. I have 4 loops on my hook. I'm going to go into the next one, pull up a loop. That is the first stitch from the chain base. I'm going to go into the next stitch, pull up a loop. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to pull through all 6 like so. Then I'm going to chain 1. That's going to give me a little eye right there. Okay. Then to make my next one and every stitch after, I'm going to go back into that eye, pull up a loop. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. Do you see, I'm going to come in a little closer. You see those posts? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 posts. Right between post 4 and 5, I'm going to go in and pull up a loop. Right like that. Then that base stitch, I'm going to go into that one, pull up another loop, and then the next 2 stitches, I'm going to pull up loops through. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pull all the way through, chain 1. Now all of your other stitches on this row are going to be done like that until you have 1 stitch remaining. Getting that next loop between those 2 posts can be kind of difficult. Sometimes you have to push, especially if you're using a larger hook. All right, let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I always do a quick count, make sure that I went enough. Sometimes I get going too fast and I end up with 7 loops, or I end up with 8 loops. I'm like, whoa, what happened? So I got to back up. I'm trying to work kind of slow here so you guys can see the stitches. Okay, that was the base. This was the next stitch. This is the second stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pull through, chain 1, go into the eye, then between the posts, into the base, stitch 1, stitch 2, pull up, chain 1, into the eye, between the posts, base, stitch 1, stitch 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pull through, chain 1. Okay, and I hope you guys don't mind how rough this video is. I don't know how to do all that fancy software editing stuff that everyone else does. You know, they put the fancy music behind it and everything. So you just have to deal with me and the background noise in my house. You know, maybe some birds, maybe my cats. That was the base. Here's stitch 1, stitch 2. My cat already tried to jump on my lap. So you might have heard her jingle bell from her collar. There's the eye. Now I'm doing 9 stitches, 9 star stitches on this row with the 20 half double crochet base. Basically, your base you're going to want to have as an even number, and then the number of star stitches is going to be that number divided by 2, and then take away, subtract 1. Okay, so 20 divided by 2 is 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. That's going to give me 9 stars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, pull through, chain 1. Now I've got 1 stitch right here left. I'm going to do a double crochet in that. 1, 2, there we go. I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to take my stitch marker and put it on my working loop. That's going to tell me when I come back on the next row where my last stitch is. I'm going to do a half double crochet in the top of that double crochet that I did. Okay, do you see that right there? Now, working on the wrong side of the stars, you're not working in the stitch tops. See right there, those little V's, those are the stitch tops. You're actually going to find, I'll pull in a little closer, this where your chain 1s were, the eyes of the stars. They can be kind of hard to find, but if you look right there, it is. You'll see how it's all gathered in a circle. You're going to work 2 half double crochets into that eye. Okay, see how that pulls it out? Then you're going to go to the next one. Find where the eye is. Work 2 half double crochets into the eye. Next one right there. Once you get used to finding the eye, it actually gets pretty easy. It's almost like your yarn is making a bullseye. Right there. And it's like, here it is. And once you get that first stitch in there, it makes it very easy to get the second one in there because it starts to pull away a little bit. And that's okay. You want it to pull away just a little bit because when you lay this flat, that pulling is going to go back into place and it's going to look gorgeous. So, okay, I've got 2 more to do. 1, 2, and since you have 2 half double crochets and 9 stars, that's going to give you 18 half double crochets, plus you've got the half double crochet you did at the very beginning, this one right here. And then once you're done with that last eye, right at the top of that chain 3, remember we stuck that stitch marker on the working loop? Right there, you're going to pull that up and do your last half double crochet there, and that will be stitch number 20 to keep your count. Sometimes it's a little difficult getting in there, especially with Simply Soft yarn. It can be a little splitty, and then with a larger hook, trying to get it into that chain can be difficult. but there we go. I'm going to pull that up. And just to kind of secure it so I can show this to you, I'm just going to chain one and take my hook out, loop my finger so I don't use it. Okay, so this is the wrong side. This is the side we just worked. And this is the right side. You see how all those eyes pulled back in again so that you don't have those gaps. And then when you work another row, you can either do another row of stars by doing your chain 3 and repeating what you did here, or you can do another row of stitches. In the Pineywoods scarf, you do a row of half double crochets on top of it, and then you go into the post pattern. But this is your star stitch. Such a beautiful stitch. I absolutely love the texture on this, and it's one that I've been using a lot. So I hope you enjoy. Feel free to give us a follow here on YouTube. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/LOBabyBoutique, or become a supporter on Patreon at patreon.com/LOBabyCrochet. And all supporters on Patreon will get access to my entire design library through the blog, along with other little things that I post on there kind of randomly about being a mom, adopting boys. We're going through IVF and a whole bunch of other stuff that I just kind of rant about on there. Oh yeah, in grad school. I started grad school. So here is your star stitch. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, become a supporter on Patreon, and get all the tidbits and tricks. I hope you enjoyed this stitch.